Hello, how's it going? I almost forgot to start streaming. I was sitting here so engrossed in trimming little threads on my pants that I was like, oh my gosh, what's the time? So, sorry, I'm almost late, but I think I caught it in time. So at least I was all set up. It's a little overexposed, I know, but, you know, the denim is so dark on the other side that I think it'll compensate. But if I'm kind of shocking your eyes there, I can adjust that. So yeah, it was just, I fixed my pockets. Remember, I didn't really like how the, this is what I wanted. I don't know why I sewed my pockets like that last time. I think because this is the outside and I was getting confused with the right and the wrong, you know, like we do. So how are you guys doing? Happy Saturday. What are you guys working on? Tell me. I'm really excited to finish these because I want to see them on my husband. I'm really curious about the fit. They may end up just being the nicest muslin I've ever made, and that's just how it goes. Hi, Lisa. Awesome. And the sound, everything looks good, right? So, all right. Yeah, see, it's a little overexposed. Let me flip this over so I'm not like shocking your eyeballs. That helps a little bit, doesn't it? So let's see here. We have the inseam today. I'm going to flat felt, which isn't something I do a lot, so wish me luck. And the waistband. Those are my primary things I'm going to do today. And let's see, we have our backs. My husband did get a peek at his jeans, probably on Instagram, and he so far is like, yeah, they look good. So we'll see when he sees them in person what he thinks about the stitching. You know, this is what's going to show in the outside world, but you know, he's going to wear a shirt. It's going to cover a little bit. It's going to be a little bit, you know, poking out there. But I really like the way they're sewing up. I really love this denim. I'm pretty sure I got it from Closet Case Patterns, and it's the non-stretch denim. And it has this really great slub texture. I love it. It's great. I hope there's enough for me to make a skirt. But these turned out really good. So let's see. We're going to do the inseam first since that's the trickiest bit. I did do this a little bit out of order from how she had it, but it's probably because I'm not lining these. Because these are intended to be like work pants to line. So I'm going to put these together here. I'm going to move this light too because it's kind of blinding me. I bonked it earlier, so I think it got a little off kilter. Sometimes I just get too relaxed before stream, and then I forget to do a few things. All right, so thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Rebecca. Let's see. I'm going to check my inseam here and see how much easing that I need to do. Because I have a feeling that I need to ease the inseam together. Because usually that's what you do. One leg will be, see that? It's a little bit bigger than the other one. But the thing is, I did trim the length of these pants, so I gotta take that in consideration. I may not have done it exactly the same on both sides. I did, but you know, you just never know. So let's see. That was the one thing with I meant to say this on the first stream, that I got these printed, the pattern printed, and I couldn't tell, hi Ida, where the, like there would be like this much of a pattern piece on one page and then the rest of the pant on the other, and I could not tell. There were like so many of these and they were all different like heights, this. I couldn't tell which went to which leg. If it went to the lining front, the lining back, the front, or the back. And I sat there trying to like match them up. At least it was easy to figure out which one was the back because they're whiter. But it was kind of interesting that there was no like match-up marks. And I don't know if that was the pattern or the printer. It's hard to tell. Only two pieces said 3B and 1B or something like that. And even then, when I put those on there, they didn't quite seem right because they were really different from each other. So, anywho, I'm not going to ease these too much because I'm a little worried I cut even the wrong one out. But I do want my seam to match. I'd rather have the seam rather than the stitching. I mean, the stitching I would love to match, but at this point, hi, Carol. Hi, Julia. Nice to see you. I love seeing what you're sewing. So, you know, I would, of course, really like the stitching to match up, but because it's the inseam, and that's a lot of bulk. I'd much rather have the seam line up. And, you know, unfortunately, my seams are both pointing the same direction. Should have thought about that, right? All right, so let's see. I'm going to look at this and see where I'm at. And we're going to do the flat fell seam. So it's actually going to be right sides together. So what are you guys doing today? Are you guys sewing? I know, it's not easy, Julia. I know. Trust me. You know, when I got addicted to live streams, it was easier because there's a lot more content for what I was watching it for. And so I could just tune into whoever was streaming and watch what I wanted to watch. But this is so specific, you know, and I know we're all really busy people, or maybe this isn't the format that we really like, but I just try and encourage people, just tune in once to see what you think of it. I'm going to trim all that off right there. I don't like that. That point is so severe. So I just trimmed off the excess. Not my seam allowance, just the excess. Just the excess of that. So that's all I'm doing. All right. So because it's going to happen anyway. I'm going to do a pin or two, maybe 4 or 5. That's a perfect thing to do though, Julia. I've actually been craving knitting lately. I've knit a little bit in the last year or two. But I kind of came to a full stop just because, dang, it is so hot where I live and I had so many sweaters. So, and your sweater design is one of my favorites, and that thing is so warm. It's like an overcoat for where I live. So, I don't get to wear it as much as I'd like. All right, so I'm going to just kind of look at this. I feel like that's a lot to ease in, even for me. Oh, nice. Are they not ideal, Lisa, because of the stretch, or you just don't like the way they look? Because it may be a good muslin, you know, if you don't mind using it. All right, so I'm just hoping these don't end up being too short, you know. I should have probably looked at this off stream. I'm going to ease in about the same amount, so I'm just kind of matching that. I'm going to see what I think of this. I'm not committed to this. Ooh, really? The back was a bit low at the waist. Really? That's so interesting, Carol, because what I noticed about the pattern was they were, it's a much longer back rise than his jeans that he wears regularly. And I was pretty surprised by that, and I thought, well, maybe that's because they made it so that when guys are like squatted and working on something, you know, to get rid of the plumber's issue, you know. But that's interesting that they were too shallow for him. Oh, not as substantial. Maybe for like lighter weight spring jeans, Lisa. You've been working on your Mountain View. Ooh, Ida, look at you go. That's awesome. I'm jealous. I actually almost cut out of muslin before the stream today. I think I'm going to sew up to this, and then I'm going to ease this much in. Oh, I'm going to ease more than that in. I can do more than that, right? I can do it. Let's see here. I don't need to ease down here. Just want to ease a little bit through there. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Usually there's a notch, and I only saw one notch on the pants, and I'm pretty sure it was for a sewing guide for the knee patches for this pant. So I thought at first it was like a sewing guide for the easing, but it's not. It was for the patch because there was no guide on the back, and you need both. You need to know where to start. I just feel like I could do more than that, don't you think? Maybe I could do it all. It's not like he has a big butt. Yeah, right, Lisa? I mean, spring's right around the corner. I mean, here it really is, you know? I know in other parts of the country and other parts of the world, spring is not around the corner. But here it is. Like, it'll probably be 80 degrees next week, and right now it's, 50. So it's just nuts. It's much warmer here. All right, so I do this right sides together, and I'm actually gonna look at the instructions to make sure because I don't know, actually maybe I'll look at his pants. I have his pants here. So they do this front over back. You see that? So then I want to sew them on the front side and then fold it over to the back. That's why I looked at that. Right. And it's 5/8 inch, right? I know, I should know that. This denim, man, look at that fray. I feel like I'm just really jumping into this today. But maybe I missed something. But you know me, I know how to use a seam ripper. So I seam ripped a lot last week on these, or Thursday. I love how when it's for me, I'm like, it's fine. But then when it's for someone else, I'm like, oh God. Which is, the reason that's funny to me is because, the jeans are usually eased in right here, Julia. Sometimes they aren't, but most of the time they are. It kind of helps with adding a little bit there and the torquing that denim is so famous for. Or twill, I should say twill weave is so famous for torquing. I don't know if you've ever had that happen. Most people know torquing from knits, but it happens with twill weave in particular. And denim is usually a twill weave. Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's funny that I get nervous sewing for others when that's all I do for chicken boots is sew for others. But you know, I figured those things out, and you know, I've got my process down. I feel like I just missed my seam allowance there a little bit, but I'm gonna deal with it with the flat belt. Because the thing is, because this is an exposed seam, you see that? It gets a little narrow right here, through here. Maybe I should fix that. So, yes, they do, Julia. Yeah, it's not always the case in some patterns, but it is desirable. It's just, I think like when I first encountered it, I probably just cut it off thinking, oh, the pattern's wrong, you know, like back in that day. So, yeah. And I used to do a little bit of denim, but we had specific pattern drafters in different departments when I worked somewhere. And I never got to hear the, all of the thinking behind it, and I kind of missed out on that. And I should look it up because I just know it's a thing and that you just do it, and I've just kind of accepted it. So I don't know what the sleeves. I can talk about sleeves and easing all day long, and what the desirable amount is. I'm not sure what it is, and if it's different for men and women, and if it's different for if it's even in leggings. I don't even think it's in leggings. Like it never was when we did it. So. And the reason mine don't match probably is because I trimmed off the bottom of the pants because of the, I didn't want to waste all that denim because I knew that I needed a 32-inch inseam. So, and like I said, I had trouble matching up the pattern pieces. So let's see, I want to see if I can, I'm going to trim this down and then I'm going to hem that over that, right, like that, or like this way. So I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to make that a little bigger. I just, you know, with me, I don't really like having start and stops that are exposed, like visible, because it's so visible with this thread color. Let's just check my seam allowance. Oh, see, it's not bad. It's like it's a little shallow right there. Yeah, right through here, and then it gets back up to right there. So I'm gonna do it to like right here. I want to set myself up for this part to be as easy as possible because it's not easy. And I'm a little concerned about this. Like that right there, I probably need to pull that down and get more because this is going to be really hard over this thickness. So maybe I'll back it up to like right here. I'm going to back it up to here. Sorry, guys. But I'm going to pull this out well, I was going to pull this out quick and dirty, but then I would just have to sit there and pull out the threads. Sometimes it's just better just to pull it out in a good way. Because if I do it this way, I have to pull out all these threads, but that is a little faster, huh? We'll do that. Be quite unfortunate to rip my jeans though, so I don't recommend using a seam ripper like this, except for really short sections. And if there's any resistance, stop and then check. I see a lot of people like those scalpel style seam rippers, and I tried one once and it scared the crap out of me. So I didn't keep using it. I was like, yeah, I'm too klutzy for this thing. I'm not going to use it. I'm very adept at my own seam ripper though. Remember, when my mom asked me when I first started learning how to sew, so you've been sewing for a while, what's your favorite tool? I said, the seam ripper. And she just kind of was like, oh, well, mine's the iron. And I was like, oh, okay. She was very kind and didn't really point out that maybe if I'd used the iron, I wouldn't need the seam ripper as much. Diplomacy, right? Mom diplomacy. All right, let's try that again. And get rid of some of my threads here. The navy blue bobbin is probably invisible to you guys. But this top stitching thread is quite thick. All right. I'm not worried about these jeans being too small. To be honest, I'm worried about the opposite. I'm going to line that up a little better right there. Hold it in place. I kind of evenly am distributing this ease. It kind of wants to go in there. It's really not that hard. Oh, that's awesome, Rebecca. I used to have scissors on a necklace. And sometimes I do it when I'm at a show and I'm like getting ready, you know. Trying to keep the weight of my jeans up here on the table so they're not pulling against the needle of my machine. It's really bad for it and dangerous. And also you can start sewing crooked because of it. This back is really sharp. Like meaning like the juncture of the back is, whew. It's no joke. Let's see if I can get all that in there. Trying to get that top seam allowance to stay there, but it really wants to back off. I feel like my alignment's pretty bad there. Maybe I can correct it a little bit when I do the folding of the flat fell. We'll see. I almost need to pull it off of the, like to the right, like pull it over, and then I'm going to correct it when I get closer to that area. Just to keep it lined up, you know? Yeah, Rebecca, how did you do that? Is there like a loop in your seam ripper? How'd you do that? Tell us. Here we go. Threads galore. Okay, so I'm gonna trim these with my scissors because I need them trimmed on both edges, and then I'm going to trim the top layer down, or the bottom layer down. Don't trim the top layer. That would be really bad if I did that. They look like ants, huh? I may have to trim this a little bit more. I just want to get most of this out of my way right now. Giving it a haircut. Okay, so now I trim the back seam allowance layer only. I'm going to do it about 1/4 of an inch. I'm trimming it down to a 1/4 inch. I'm trimming, you know, hopefully about 3/8 of an inch off. It's probably hard for you to see where that seam is. I can barely see it myself. I'm doing mostly what by feel because I'm opening it up like this. Let's get rid of that. I don't need it to bite me right now. There's that crease. See that crease? Remember that from the washing? It's his pet peeve. He's better not do that there, otherwise he won't wear them, even if they fit good. I think that a lot of times that happens in ready-to-wear things, that crease, like when you wash the pants and then you get these permanent creases from the very first washing. Partly it's because that fabric has been garment dyed rather than piece dyed. I could be wrong about this, but there's a difference. Because what you can do, I don't know, I bet that's piece dyed fabric. Because there's two different ways, there's probably lots of ways to do it, but basically it's like when I worked at this company that made children's wear, we made everything in fabric that was called PFD, which meant prepare for dye. And then what they would do is say, all right, we want, 3,000 of them this color, 4,000 of them this color, 200 of them this color. And then they would garment dye them. And in that way, you're making one pattern and you're cutting one time and sewing all of it at once. And then you dye it what you need. And so you build the shrinkage into the pattern. So I got really good at building shrinkage into patterns that were going to be dyed and shrunk up later. Fascinating, by the way. I don't know, Thea. My husband, I said this last time, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but he will get, like, my husband is like, environmentalist, works for a company that really promotes that kind of thing as well, so that's why he went to work there. But like, say he'll buy a brand new pair of pants and then he'll wash them for the first time, get them out of the dryer, and there's like creases in them, and then the crease has faded the color right along the crease. So even if he irons it, you still notice where that crease was, and he hates it. He'll immediately donate them. And it's so disappointing because he's like, wow, I don't go shopping very often. He doesn't buy new clothes very often. And he finally finds something he likes, and then they do that, So, you guys, I don't think I can do this. I'm doubting my flat fell abilities here. I'm going to get rid of a lot right there. I don't want to lose any of this width. But getting over this seam here, eek. I'm going to kind of like reduce the thickness there. Wish me luck. Okay, maybe I can. We'll see. You'll see it here. All right, so kind of like a French seam, but not a French seam. Let's get rid of some of these threads. Let's look in the inside. Let's just get rid of the threads on the inside. Then we can see what's poking through right now. All right. So the reason I did this in this order, I can't remember how the pattern had you do it, but I didn't want to, I think the main thing that I just did was that I sewed my pockets and my fly before I did this step. And the reason I did that is I wanted to not have to hold the entire pant when I was trying to sew the fly and the pockets. So, and especially since I'm doing an online version, I know this will work. Oh, see that, Carol? Rebecca tells you how she did the seam ripper necklace. Yeah, oh, Lisa, that's, it could be, but there's more dye in black, and it just depends on how they set it. There's lots of ways to do it, and what kind of dye. There's like a lot, it's very complicated. There's different, you know, black's not a real color, and so they have to use the saturation of another color to create black. That's just how black is. White is the absence of color, black is all color. And so you can tell the quality of a black color-wise if it has a green hue or a blue hue to it. Blue is more desirable. And I don't know about the shrinkage amounts between black and white, but I do find that I have issues with it in printed fabric. As you know, like if the more that there is on the fabric, the less flexible it is. It's more fixed because there is more ink on it. So it could be that, but so they could also be distressing the garment, and if they're distressing it or enzyming it or anything like that, that will also contribute to shrinkage issues, stuff like that. All right, so see, now we can do this with this inseam open. But if I would have done this first, I would have had to have this whole pair of pants hanging out while I did the fly and the back pockets. And this is like a remote possibility. Let's say you did something bad on one or the other, like your back pockets, or you cut them, or you did your fly. It would be kind of a shame to figure that out after you've done this step and your pants were already attached. So it's kind of the rule of thumb for me, like when... like you will see certain, like you, how do I put this? Sometimes you do the step that has the most lasting consequence towards the end so that you still have a chance to back out and maybe change something. It's really classic on things like with tack buttons. Tack buttons are kind of a problem in that like you're putting them on last. And it's kind of a shame if you screw that up, then you've ruined the entire pair of pants, you know, and it's not like you can do it first. And so it is nice when you can kind of put off something that kind of, like this would be the most seam ripping, right? To take out this seam and the top stitch seam if you wanted to be like, oh shoot, I need to replace the back and I need to take off the front, you know, so you're supposed to, it's nice if you press this open. And then you press these seam allowances together like this so they meet. Fold it over and top stitch it down. Can you see that? Let me try and make it less exposed here. So you would press your seam with an iron. And then you press these two together, these raw edges together. That's why it is, you know, you really need all that seam allowance. And then you top stitch it down, and that's your flat felt seam. You don't really want them overlapping because it's already kind of bulky. And I've never really done a lot of, I haven't hardly done any flat felt seams, like, ever. I haven't done it for probably 20 years at least, until Thursday. And even though this is the kind of a bulky seam to have on your inseam gets the most friction. So that is why it's reinforced. And me particular, I'm really glad that that is the case, because I kind of want to leave the outseam with the ability to alter it just in case they don't fit. Well, there you go. Because I have a feeling that these are going to be, like, he wanted wide leg. Like, he wants to make sure they don't get hung up on his shoes. That's another of his pet peeves. That was the only thing he said he wanted. But I think these are actually going to be too wide-legged for him. I'm not sure. The hashtag with all the guys wearing them looks really good. I love hashtags for that. All right, here we are. Wish me luck here. May the force be with me here. Okay, maybe it won't be as bad as I thought. Maybe if I whine about it, it won't be a big deal. I definitely want to get all of that turned under though, because that edge is already kind of frayed, right? And so you really want a nice bite of top stitching to go through the fold. You don't want the barely happening there. Careful, careful. Oof, I don't know, you guys. I can fold it under, but getting all that in there, eek. I need practice with flat fell seams. That's what I'm learning right now. Especially at this angle. It's like when someone designs, like when you're new to design and you put lots of like curved lines in it. Yes, it is, Julia. It's really thick. It's specifically for jeans top stitching. So, let me see if I can show you it. I'll unwind it. Look how I don't know if you can tell by how thick that is, but like just what I use here at the shop is Tex 40. And this is you buy probably Tex 27 at the fabric store. I don't know if they speak in terms of thread gauge on these. Sorry. So yeah, it is specific to jeans top stitching, and it's probably at your fabric store. It's just not something that you see very often. Like, there's just not very many of them usually, because they're just in usually jean colors. And then I have a regular bobbin on the underneath. My bobbin, it wouldn't function like that. Yeah, Gutermann. Yeah, it's I think it's 100% polyester. Gonna make me squint, aren't you? Yeah. It is. But yeah, it's pretty heavyweight. It's definitely takes some tension adjusting when you use it. I find I need to crank my upper tension a little bit, because what happens is that it pokes below down through on the underside. So then if I tighten up the top, then it'll pull it up and kind of cinch it together. But I wouldn't use it for all of your construction. Like, I did use it on a little bit of the construction, but places like the flat fell seam here and here. Did I do it on here, you guys? I didn't do it on my seams because I didn't want the threads to show through. Let's see. I feel like I did do it on one. Let me get past this little spot. Like, I get it all set and then I stop sewing because I'm nervous. I'm procrastinating. At least I know this is one area my husband's not going to say, yeah, but she didn't do this part very good. He's not going to show anybody this part. And he'll just be showing it to me if it blows out or it starts fraying. Yeah, so it's great that they have that thread, Julia, because I remember like years ago when I would like fix like friends' jeans or my own jeans, and you could just never get the right color yellow, and then you could tell it was homemade because it looked so lightweight, you know? And then they started getting smart about that, but it wasn't because of the jeans making movement going on right now. It was because of the alterations that were happening. They realized there was a need. So it's really great. There's lots of different color yellows now. Yeah, exactly, Julia. It's probably like in one little section of that Gutermann rack, you'll see like 3 or 4 of them there. And they'll be, they'll, like, I have a, do I have the others here, you guys? No. I have a copper color. It's kind of a brownish copper color. And I have 2 different yellows, like a gold and a brighter and a darker. And I think there's more than that. I bought this thread in the kit. Oh, you can't see that. Sorry, it's so overexposed. Let me get rid of the black bag. Okay, let me let me finish this stitch and then I will tone down the brightness and then you can see it. But I bought this thread in the Closet Case Denim Hardware Kit because I wanted the rivets as well. And then they sell it as a kit so that the thread and the hardware matches. If I can find the copper one, I can show it to you. This is the worst parallel line. This isn't a parallel line, by the way. Whoops. Yeah, so I have to say, even though I'm doing a really like meh job at this, I really enjoy sewing like this. I love hemming and top stitching. Okay. Oh, you know, at first glance it looks pretty straight. All right. All right. But look at that little ridge right there. All right. But it looks okay. All right. So now I have my outseam and my waistband, but let me here, I'll tone down the brightness so you can see what's in this little kit since you're new here. Phew, it's just still. So can you see that? It's hard, huh? Gosh, there we go. So it comes with tack buttons and rivets, needles, and thread. And you can get different colors, like copper, a gold. You can get nickel. I'm not sure what the top stitching thread is in the nickel. It's not silver. It's like a gold color. So, and you can buy these individually, these kits, and you can buy it with the denim as well. It's kind of helpful. Oh. I wonder why, Ida. That's weird. Woo, let me shock your eyeballs again here. Need a little more. We're gonna get into that weird loop like we did that one stream where you guys were like, yeah, right there, and like since there's like a 5-second delay, I went to the wrong one. All right, so let's do the outseam, which I've already pre-serged, and I'm gonna do this in navy blue thread so that when the seam pulls apart. Yes, I think they do, Julia. They probably do. I've never shopped on their online thing, but they might even have more like in person than they would on their website anyway, like a lot of places do, because it's just so hard to like put everything on their website that they have in their store. Let me just change my thread color here. Excuse my reach. It's like it's like sewing with yarn, so you'll love it. It's more like sewing with like lightweight cording. Like even just like threading it. Threading the needle is really easy with it, ironically. You have to have the right like weight needle, but it's so stiff it just pokes right through. But like pulling it through the tension discs, it's like, you know, it is, yeah, it is grumpy, Ida. So refuse the black thread that you want to use, but a dark blue, the same brand and same thickness went well, but it doesn't like having. That's odd. And the same bobbin? Did you use the same bobbin up and on top? The same bobbin as your upper thread? Maybe that's it? It could be. All right. Let's do my side seam here. Ooh, these 5/8 inch seams though. They're so big. It's a nice curve though. I love it when they line up so well. But of course, I have a little bit extra there. Lynn, how's it going? Oh, right, Julia. That's a bummer. Yeah, exactly. It's true, Malin. Sometimes it's the finish. Like sometimes they'll say silk finish or something else, you know. The silk finish, I think, is pretty standard, but some of the others can cause issues. One of the factories I worked at, since they did waterproof, breathable, and waterproof clothing, I say clothing, but like dry suits, they're pretty specific. You wouldn't wear it walking down the street. They're like gasketed garments to, you know, save your life if you fell in the cold water. But they used nylon thread, Tex 40 as well. But the nylon thread was. It was crazy stuff. I was really glad I didn't have to sew with it. You know, just on your cone, it would start unraveling. You know what I mean? Like it just boing right off of your cone of thread. It was so hard to deal with. But, you know, most of the sewists there, they were just used to it. It was just normal for them because maybe it was the only factory they ever work in. Trying to keep the mounts the same on both sides because I don't want them to torque. And I'm not going to top stitch this outseam with you guys because I want to try these on before I commit to all that seam ripping. Alright, so. But as, like, I like to top stitch all the way down the side on mine. But I'll probably only do it just like through the pocket on the side, like they do there. See that? Theirs is only goes this far. The pocket goes to about right here. So I'll just wait to do that. Actually, no, I'm going to do it because even if I have to taper these, that's not going to be a problem. And then I won't have to deal with the start and stop being on the pant after the waistband is sewn. I'm glad we talked about that. let's undo the fly to do it. So I'm going to push it to the back. Oh, I need to change my thread. Oh boy. So I'm thinking about selling my other machine, but like when I sew something like this and I have to change back and forth, I'm like, maybe I should keep it. It's going to be so cheap that I'm not going to make much money from it, and it's an amazing machine. It works really great. It just doesn't have electronics like this one does, so it's a little dated that way, and I could totally do that. And then I could keep my machine with the binding attachment, which I don't need. Oh, yeah, so I have to tell you everything, Julia. Okay, so yeah, so you obviously know I use an industrial machine, but my industrial machine has what's called electronics on it. And so what it does, I'll give you a little demo because there's probably a few people that haven't seen some of this. I think I have an extra one of these. Okay, so because it has the electronics, I press back on, so there's different ways for this to work on different machines, but mine is a heel lift, not a knee lift. My machine that I was just talking about selling has a knee lift on it. So when I tilt my heel back, it lifts the presser foot. I can put the fabric in there and I sew. And then when I press on my heel again hard, it's going to clip the thread and then raise the presser foot up. Like that. So the other thing I can do is I just put on my automatic back tack, and when I start, it does an automatic back tack. I sew for a little bit, press hard again, does the back tack, and trims the thread. So that's the difference. The knee lift is, just that you use your knee instead. It still can have the automatic back tack and the thread clip, but the heel lift is more ergonomic. And if you don't sew as much as I do, that's not a big deal. So if you're looking at a machine and you're considering it and you're like, ooh, knee lift, that's a little bit old school, it works great. That's my old machine was a knee lift, but I literally have thrown my lower sacrum out almost permanently because of all the heel lift I'm doing, because I'm swinging my right knee to the right constantly. My left knee, there's no way to switch it over to where it's your left knee doing that to kind of switch up the injury, so to speak. So it was the reason why I decided to get a new machine. My other machine was working really well. And then tragically, the motor blew up on it last summer before I got this machine. And they just, there was two options for it. You'd either go to the scrap heap like that, or they could take the electronics off and it still sews. And that's what I did. So for part of the summer and for almost all of Harry Potter, I sewed on it like that without the thread clip and the knee lift and the heel lift thing. It was a knee lift. Not a problem, but it's really shocking how much the thread clip adds to my productivity. I don't use the automatic back tack. It's great, but I just don't use it. I'm just reading your comments. Yes, you can control the speed, Carol. You do get used to it. Hi, Kathy. Oh, that could be it, Ida. You mean your thread that you're having issue with? Oh, yeah. That could totally, old thread's bad. It definitely degrades. So, yeah, so Carol, you will get used to the speed. I can really control it, though. This one's a little zippier than my old one. My old one, but like if you could see under my machine, there's a speed control thing. I don't think, oh, actually, it's somewhere different on this machine. I don't know how to adjust it myself, but I've never needed to have to learn how to adjust it myself. I'm sure it's not that hard. But the symbols are a turtle and a rabbit. So it's a very clear universal language. So you know which direction to go. And my old machine, the one that I was telling you about, wasn't all the way up to the full speed. And this one is higher than that one. It might be full speed, but I can do this one stitch. But yeah, if I want to go fast, I don't have enough room to go fast. Like, that's not full speed. So it can be nice. The fact that I have my 2 hands available to do just about everything I need to. It saves me a lot of time, and time is really important to me when I'm sewing. It doesn't have to be the thing that guides your sewing. It's just really important in production sewing, and that has been my main focus. I do like it because I think, you know, with experience, you start kind of thinking a little quicker with your sewing steps and anticipating the next step. And so it is kind of nice that your machine can kind of keep up with you. Hi Kathleen, the Mountain View's sew along starts next week. These are not the Mountain View. These are Jutland pants for my husband. Thursday, we're going to go over any pattern alterations that I'm hopefully going to be able to cover for everybody. I'm going to try and set up a little, you know, how-to for anything. I'm going to look at removing the back seam on the leg for my pair, but someone had a really great idea of just using matching thread so it's not as visible, so you don't have to remove it. And we'll talk about cutting and any questions people have. And then Saturday, I'm going to start sewing them, but it's going to be a pretty slow sew-along, so to speak, because I'm going to only do the fronts. So they have a fake fly, that should be quick, and then pockets. That's it. And then the next week we're going to do the backs and the pockets and whatever's back there, maybe the seam. And then we'll do the waistband and hems. So there's no fly like with a zipper, so it's pretty quick. And if you're interested or need more information like on how to print your pattern or buy denim that's the proper stretch, I did a video on that about 3 weeks ago. And it's pretty obvious which one it is because it does say, you know, Mountain View pull-on jeans. And I like pull up my computer and you guys can see me on the web doing stuff. Okay, how far am I going down here? How far? I'm going to go this far. Just a little bit more. I'm going to put a fake bar tack there. And you can absolutely sew your jeans on a home machine too. Nice, Ida, that's awesome. The Mountain Views are not similar to the Ginger jeans. They are pull-on jeans. So there's no zipper fly, and I haven't made them yet. So we're all doing this together. But I have some of the Ginger jeans. If you're looking for a tutorial on that, or at least like a sew along, I'm not like an instructor, but you can watch me sew a pair of Ginger jeans. Haven't I? I think I've sewn 2 pairs on stream, and the second pair is, those videos are called Jeans for Noobs, and you can check those out on the YouTube page. And they really go in a nice gentle way as well, and we go over everything. And we talk a lot about sizing on there. Like a lot about sizing you can learn on there, even if you're not making jeans, even if you're just buying like ready to wear clothing. Okay, I should have marked where I want this to end on this side. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to do this kind of in a backwards way. Because I want the line to be in the same spot, right? Okay. Okay, I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to measure it. Let's see here. 9.5. All right. I almost make it. Yeah, I felt like it went really good, Kathy. I go all the way to the end, even putting on the hardware, you know, like the tack button and the rivets, which I haven't done a lot of that either. I was a noob for that for sure. I know enough about it to know what not to do. Sometimes that isn't always what happens, right? Okay, perfect. That my pin's in the right spot. It's like 1/8 of an inch high. That's about it. But I could be measuring. That is not the ideal way to measure, right? And so, Julia, the other thing I should mention is my when I do, since I don't use my automatic back tack on this machine, like the one I was showing you, I have one right here. Let me see. I don't know if I can show it to you. I don't think you guys can see that. Now I've just messed up my whole camera angle. But I have a little like silver disc right here. And then I have a regular one off to the right here, nice big lever. I prefer this one because I don't even have to take my hands away. I can just do it really quick. Okay. So let's see. Now we're going to do the waistband. I always get so nervous doing the waistband. I start procrastinating. Okay, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I don't know why I was getting nervous doing the waistband. I just really, it's like the last step, you know? I just want them to turn out looking nice. So that top stitching I just did was this one right here. Right there. So. Oh, thank you. Kathy, that's nice of you to say. Let's hope he likes them, right? Is that okay, guys? What did I do? There's just not enough camera. Okay. Yeah, oh, and I got this little anvil in my last needle sharp box because that's also jeans, and I've never used it. Isn't it like tough? It's pretty cool. Isn't it cute? I got it out because I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll put my husband's rivets on, but maybe I should have him try them on first. Don't you think? Okay, so here's my waistband. Here is my belt loops. Gosh, we call these carriers in the industry, and that's such an old-fashioned term. So I'm going to try this the way she has you do it, where I don't have to sew and turn them. It's kind of like doing the flat fell thing, like that. And I'm just going to stitch it down. Is that what do I want it on the edge? Yeah, I'm going to put it on the edge. I sewed and turned my ginger jeans, but it just didn't feel good. It was a struggle. But on the ginger jeans, you do one long strip and then you cut them up, which is a little bit less sewing. So thanks, Julia. I hope he likes them. He likes biking. Okay, so I'm top stitching it. I'm going to start from the same end again to do it. Those are okay. That was my starter one, right? I was watching the little tutorial that Heather Lou from Closet Case has on putting on jean rivets and denim today, and she has a pair of jeans in the picture that are just beautiful. She's the creator of the ginger jeans. The sewing is so nice. And then I saw Thread Theory Designs posted a picture of a person's jeans. What were they called? Not the Jutland Pants jeans, but something else. The person who sewed them is Tassia Pona, and she has beautiful sewing. They're gorgeous. Like, the picture of those jeans is so beautiful. And it made me go, ooh, I need to up my game on these. Next time. These are wider down here. This is why we're making them more than one. Ooh, this one, oh my god. Oh, I just want to throw that in the trash, but I might need it. Now I'm regretting using my little scrap piece of fabric there. Okay, let's pay attention here. Shall we? I only need 5. And each one of these is 2. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to fold this the same amount at the top as the bottom. That's where I'm getting off. Hope you can see what I'm doing. I forget where my hands are in relation to the camera. Sewing at this angle is a little different than what I would do if you weren't here. If sewing jeans was my life, I would learn a few more tricks. Yeah, it's not the quadra. What's it called? Does it have an R or an X in it? Something like that. Or flux or something like that. Oh boy. I'm just going to hope that he just doesn't put his glasses on when he wears them and he just doesn't see them. That's kind of a strange thing to hope for, isn't it? All right, so like she says, pick your nicest ones. So, just going to cut these in half. And I'm going to pick, I have to get rid of one. But only like 2 are good. So let's see. I can let those slide. Let's see here. This one's going in the trash. These are the winners. I'm going to get rid of my threads here. Pull these all up at the top. Because this stuff comes back to haunt me. I don't know about you guys, but I just try and keep it as clean as possible. You can see, Julia, like a little bit of my bobbin still poking through, but that's the start and stop. So that's expected, to, in my opinion. I forgive it for that, you know. Okay, so these all look okay. They probably look better to you guys because you're not seeing all the like folded edges, you know. Fulford, yeah, it was the Fulford. There's an R in it. If I just would have named 24 other letters, I would have been even closer, right? All right, so I'm going to put my belt loops on now. I like putting them in the waistband seam. My only issue with that is that you want to make sure that your belt loop or your carrier is still wide enough for the belt to go through that your wearer prefers to wear. So this is, you know, let's take off about 1.25 inches there. So this is about the height of my waistband, right? So I'm going to put that like that. So I actually did check these because I wanted to make sure that the belt loop was going to be about the same width, or the opening was about the same as his jeans. He doesn't always wear a belt, but he does. So I know that I need to think about that. So, but what I like about putting him in the waistband is that you don't have these little pieces coming out and sneaking out over time. And so you'll see when I deal with these, I actually get rid of all this as much as possible. Like I just sit there and fray until as much of it's gone, so that when I turn it under and top stitch it down, that's not going to sneak out. Because, you know, I really hate it when you're wearing your belt loop and that kind of white stuff starts pulling out and showing. Just like how I feel about the back pockets, I really like that edge to be clean right there because I don't like these little threads to pull out. Because in denim, it's either the warp or the weft. I am not very good with my weaving, is white, and then the other one's the blue, right? And so that will poke through. And then with denim that has a little bit of stretch, it's got an extra layer of complication because one of those threads has a little bit of like a stretch material in it, spandex or lycra. I think those are both brand names, at least spandex is. And that's not like a cotton fiber. It's kind of weird. It just acts weird. So it can be more noticeable is what I'm trying to say. All right, so let's get my jeans up here so they're not pulling on me, on my needle. And I'll just say this because I say it so often, but I like all the weight of my garment to be up on the table. I know that's not always possible, but if you can do that, it's better for your machine and it's safer than it pulling on the needle, because your needle eventually would bend a little bit, especially if you're doing something lightweight and your needle's lightweight. So it's just something to think about. Also, if my thread was going and I didn't want it to unthread through the top thing. If your garment is pulling on your needle, you will eventually sew a little bit crooked. I know this from experience. When you break a needle or when it bends and it's going down into underneath the throat plate, you can invariably adjust the timing of your machine in a negative way. And the timing of your machine is more important than the tension. I'm not trying to scare you guys, I promise. I'm just telling you that because those little things add up. Tension's easy to adjust. I know we're all afraid of it, but we shouldn't be. It's just like, just adjust it, you know? Just like you do the toaster for the darkness and lightness, right? I know we're always like, dang, I really liked where it was at, and now my toast is getting burned a little bit. But that's better than messing around with the timing of your machine. Oh shoot, I forgot to pull the thread through. It's the one thing on my machine that I will have the, like when he comes and maintains my machine, that's what he probably spends the most time on, is making sure my timing is okay, because the timing is everything. All right, so I'm doing that, but I think that was the messy end. I'm gonna see how this one does. Just get rid of all those white threads, so then it's just only the blue showing, you know? This is just my own little method. It might be wrong, but it works for me. So the other carrier belt loop goes about that far behind the side seam. I don't have a notch on here because I modified this pattern to have a yoke in the back. So I'm just gonna look at his jeans, and yeah, it's about like right here. And at the center, and I'm actually going to match the, let's see what they do. I've always wondered this. Yeah, see, I want to match this stitching. This is my seam. This is my stitching. So technically, I'm not centering the this middle carrier on the seam like this. I'm centering it over the stitching. It'll look more centered even though it's a ½ inch off. Those optical illusions, right? Capitalize on them to make us look more accurate. Okay, let's see how far over I did this one, and let's match it. So I should also say, my name is Sarami. I know I didn't introduce myself, but if you're new here, and welcome if you are, I'm so glad you're here. To be able to chat with us in YouTube, you have to do what YouTube calls create a channel. And it's just their way of you creating an account to be able to chat. So if you're having trouble with that, and we really want you to chat with us, we love it. It's just a weird little precaution they have. So now, you know, it gives me trolls, I guess. We've only had one, and he looked like a he by his name, wanted us to make sure we change the oil in our cars. Maybe it was patronizing and not a troll. I don't know. All right, so I've got my belt loops there. And so then I will edge stitch them on top of the edge of the waistband. I'll decide, I might tack it down right here too, like this. Just depends on if I lose any of this width, right? Okay, I've procrastinated long enough. So I'm just gonna sew the top edge. There aren't very many notches on this waistband pattern, and the instructions have you cut the inside waistband in, hi Christy, it's going good. Just to the waistband, you know, the part that I always procrastinate to do. She has you cut the waistband in lining, which a lot of pants are like that. My personal preference is denim, and it's probably because my pet peeve is when my waistband starts scrunching down, you know? Okay, so I'm just going to do the top edge right now. I'm just kind of getting my sewing legs under me, thinking about my waistband. Because the top one's not interfaced, it's wanting to ooch. So I'm going to pay attention to this. I don't want it to ooch. Look at that. See, the interfacing shrank my waistband that much. Can you see that? Oi. What the heck? I'm gonna iron my other waistband piece. That's all I can think of to do. And now I'm gonna walk it onto the pants and make sure it's gonna fit. Yes, it's pre-washed. So let's see here. So we're gonna go all the way and close this edge here. I'm gonna be worried about the little teeth there, and then it goes all the way to the fly shield edge there. So I'm just gonna hang it off. And I'm gonna walk it and just see if I'm gonna have any trouble. I had wanted to do some stitching on his waistband, but then I got a little like, ooh, I don't know where the center back is because there wasn't a notch. Okay, so the ironed one is barely gonna make it. And you know, Julia, will you tell us what's the name of that interfacing you? Because Julia texted my friend Brooke, and then Brooke showed me the screenshot of interfacing because you've heard the, yeah, you know, okay, you're bringing up a hot button topic, Julia. I don't like using interfacing like this. I usually use fabric. I don't even use Pellon. But I know that that's not typical. And sometimes I still use fabric here, but I was kind of running out of the fabric I like to use, which was this like undyed, tightly woven poplin that I washed. It was like extra fabric at the end of spoon flour. Like when I buy spoon flour, I buy so much fabric that sometimes I leave a few yards of just unprinted at the end because I've probably used the whole roll. It isn't super lightweight. It's a medium weight. It's called featherweight, but it doesn't, I don't think featherweight, it tends to describe the weight of the interfacing because it feels so boardy, you know? But yeah, I like using fabric. Yeah, which one is the super lightweight? You said it's like golden something or something golden, right? Golden fleece or something like that. Not golden fleece. Isn't that Jason in the Argonauts? I don't know. All right, let me iron this other side just to kind of cinch it up a little bit. I think interfacing it would make it shrink a little bit more. But yeah, I'm not thrilled. I'm just not thrilled with that interfacing. What's TOG? Oh, Touch of Gold. That's what it was. It comes in white and black. Touch of Gold, and it doesn't interfere. Yeah, that's good. I've actually seen people comment places about pre-washing their interfacing, and I was like, what? Pre-wash your interfacing? I mean, I do because it's fabric, but this stuff, I wouldn't even think to do that, you know? I'm just getting back into the like home sewing world, and things have changed. Like, what happened, you guys? What have you had to deal with? When I was really getting into home sewing, like when I decided I really wanted to up my skills, I worked for a fabric store that dealt mostly with natural fibers. It was awesome. And then, well, that's good to know, Julia. Thanks. I definitely didn't use iron-on, and she would barely sell just non-iron-on. And I kind of felt the same way. I don't like gluing my fabric. That's the only way I can think of it, is gluing my fabric. I wonder if I just didn't trim this waistband. Okay. It's gone now. Get what you get. Don't throw a fit, right? Okay, so the way I'm going to do my waistband is probably not how you guys would do it. Yeah, right, Carol? Me too. I mean, I've been sewing, but I've been doing bag making, and I've had to figure out a lot of that. There just wasn't a lot of information, and like the Google did not exist till like, you know, fairly recently when you're talking about a career. So I'm gonna do my waistband from the inside to the outside. I love doing things like that. I like sewing from the inside and then finishing on the outside, because then I know my last stitch is gonna look like that, you know? So I sort of want to pin this, but I probably am not going to, because I think I'm gonna have more flexibility if I don't. So let's get my jeans up here on the table. I don't have a free arm since I use the industrial machine with the bed that's flush with the table. So I always start on I always keep my circle above my machine like this. If you have a free arm, you can do it from the other side. Now, the thing I'm worried about most right now is my zipper teeth. This is not like the coil zip I use here at Chicken Boots. They're brass, and they would break my needle. So I really need to make sure that when I get near it, I'm going to walk it around the teeth. You can remove the teeth if you like. That was no problem. And better yet, hopefully you'll have a zipper that is the right length to where it's just zipper tape in your waistband, not the teeth at all. I tried my best with that, but I was using my zipper from the jeans making kit, which could have been, I don't know if it was a little shorter or not. I didn't really check. I was just thrilled that I had that last jeans making kit, because I was like, oh shoot, I need a zipper for my husband's pants. All right, Ida, good night. Sleep well. Dream about your mountain views. Okay. I'm just looking at all these little threads and kind of pulling them out. I don't want to deal with them afterward, so I might as well deal with them now. I need to probably pay attention to where those belt loops are, because I don't want, I know this from experience sewing other things, that because they're on this side, I can't see them. What'll happen is the lip of my machine right here will push the belt loop like this, and then it'll get sewn in at an angle. And same with the feed dogs. The feed dogs can disrupt where it's at. So I may have to adjust a couple of them, because I didn't think about that till just now. I would actually back stitch over those right now, except that I want to make sure they're in the right spot before I do that. It's not a high stress area. Oh yeah, no problem. We got this. The waistband is longer than the waist seam. So, like I did note that when I cut it out. I didn't make any adjustments on the waist measurement for my husband. The only measurement change I made was the inseam. That was it. Just because I wanted to save as much denim as possible. I'm just trying to make this as flat as possible right here. Home stretch. You know, I forgot, like when I made my last pair of ginger jeans, I kind of wished that I had reinforced or done like a double layer on the pocket facing. Do you know what I mean? Let me show you. Let me finish this. So remember, I was worried about that. See that when you fold this back, it kind of dips down. I want to make sure I catch all that edge. Okay, where's my teeth? There they are. So I kind of wished that I had made 2 layers of this fabric right here. Did I? Did I sew something into the seam accidentally? I could have. Let's see. That side looks okay. Let's see here. Where is it? What was it, Julia? When you turn your seam over and you sewed something into the seam accident. Okay, wait. When I turn my seam over, let me look at it. I'm gonna look at it from the side I was sewing. I don't think so. Looks okay. It might have been an optical illusion. Oh, no, you're worried about it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now I'm got this front edge here. I used to have a way I loved dealing with this, and I wish I could remember it, so I wasn't always trying to figure this out every time, because I loved dealing with it. So one of the things I want to think about, and this is something I always forget to do with you guys, is making sure my waistband width is the same on left and right. Because when you go to sew the button, yeah, time delay, exactly. I was going to say the same thing. The button in the buttonhole, that's when I'm always like, oh, the waistband doesn't match, right? So, okay, so I think I'm going to sew this. I'm going to fold this up. Like, I almost want to go around and sew this like that, but it has its issues, so I'm going to sew this like this, fold it like that. I mean, I really want this nice and flat, because this is when torquing can happen, and I just say no to torquing. Just say no to torquing, right? I want this straight up and down. We're going to look at it before we do too much trimming. It looks like it's going that way a little bit, so I'm going to bring it in a little bit more. Like that. I really want to cut that, trust me. I know you guys probably want me to cut it too. I will. So let's look at the width right now. Okay, it looks like it's okay. Is it though? This is that edge. I'm gonna fold that like that. So let's fold the outer, because that's my outer, this is my outer waistband right here. The one that's gonna show to the world. Yeah, right, Mullen? Okay, so let's see here. Okay, I think I've got it. I may have to adjust it. I'm going to do it from this side again so I can see my fly shield or my fly facing. So what I'm concerned about are these two pieces, because they're the ones that show. But, you know, the width of the waistband can be affected by the inside as well. Like right now, it does not look like it matches. Like it looks like it matches perfectly on the inside, and on the outside, not so much. I'm just going to trim this right here. I'm not going to trim that right there. I'm actually going to check it like this first. I am going to trim all this off though. I promise there's a garbage can there. I'm trying to look at this the best I can without having the nice clipped corners. See that, Julia, like my machine gets tired of waiting for me and then it goes slam. So that is one thing with the heel lift. Okay, I think that's gonna be all okay. I can still adjust it afterward. I just didn't want it to be a major adjustment. So we're going to, I'm gonna trim this just a little bit. I like her tip on not trimming your corner completely, but rather folding the seam allowance over like this on itself. You know, like this. It's just kind of bulky for a little bit of that. And so I was even thinking maybe I could kind of do this, kind of alleviate it a little bit. Maybe not trim it at an angle, but more like that. So that when it goes in here, it folds over itself and you get a nice, more squared off point. And then I'm going to trim a little bit of this. I kind of want to grade this seam here, meaning just make it a different, just trim off one side. I love my awl for turning points. You can use a chopstick, and there are point turners. The awl, I can really get in there. I would like a crisper point. Let's look inside. What's hanging it up? You can kind of feel. It's this right here. I still did the angle. I just get a pretty good point with that. So I'll stick with what I know. The inside looks good, but that's not what counts, is it? Not in my opinion, at least. It's the outside. Just kind of grading the seam allowance like this. Grading meaning gradations, not the sizing, the term we use for sizing. All right. Kind of the last step now, right? Now, the more of these you sew, the better you get. And I am on that road, right? The grind to better jeans making. No, I love it, Julia. That's what I want. That's what I would really like. Like, if you saw some of the streams I watch, the chat is flying by. I don't know how the streamer does it. So I'm really glad it's not like that, because I'm doing how-to, and they're not usually doing that. They're usually gaming or whatever, and it's a little different, right? They're like, people are chatting with each other. Sometimes they're just saying random things, you know? Yeah, chat away. I love it. It's exactly what I want. I want questions and I want interaction. That's why I'm doing this. Like, the more, I'll be honest, like, I've been thinking about the stream a lot because I'm closing down Chicken Boots right now. And I immediately was like, wow, what am I going to do, like, for income? Or how am I going to measure my worth? Like, that's literally probably what's at the back of my head, right? I have to be honest with myself. And I'm trying to focus on not being wrapped up with that and just trying to figure out what I can do day to day. You know, Chicken Boots was debt free. I worked really hard to do that, right? And I will walk away with a little bit to play with, not play with, but literally without the pressure of having to immediately have the Chicken Boots income, right? But that nest egg is only because I'm selling off a bunch of stuff, you know. Normally that would be my cost of goods, right? It's like the stuff the operating expenses and stuff. Oh, awesome, Malin. And so I keep thinking about, like, you know, people give me lots of great ideas on monetizing my stream or ways to make money, and they're all great ideas. Or having a product, having a pattern line, of course, I get that a lot. But I'm kind of thinking of just not worrying about any of that and just seeing what happens and just doing what I want to do here, because I'm looking for a social experience regarding sewing. That's all I'm really looking for right now, you know. I just want to sew. I also don't want to end up with a closet full of clothes. Like, I don't need clothes, you know. So I'm trying to figure that out too. So I welcome the interaction. I'm not here as an expert. I just like sharing my knowledge and hanging out with other people. That's looking pretty good, you guys. Look at that. I'm going to pin this because you know, because I'm chatting a lot. So I'm going to pin it. I'm chatting a lot. Yeah, DPN. That's a great idea. Like a metal one? Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, because they're not, the point on a, I can't really never thought about that, Thea. That's a great, because the point on a DPN isn't sharp, you know, because the awl I'm using, this is what it looks like in the package. It's the tapered tailor's awl. So there's two awls that I know of that Clover makes. Can you see that? And the one I like, this one, is not, it's not sharp. Like, it's sharp, but you know what I mean? It's not there to cut or pierce. It's there to grab. So it's different. It's a different use. I mean, they show it for a point turning thing. This says for punching holes in leather and fabrics, pulling out corners and widening out spaces. And then this is all the same, just in different languages. I've had this one for a really long time. And they have like a regular awl, and I accidentally bought that for Rayanne when I was kind of showing her the magic of an awl, and it was not the same. I was like, oh, this thing is sharp. Like it just goes right through the fabric and will actually damage the fabric if you hoik on it the way I hoik on mine. All right, let's focus here. I need to focus. I actually have to sign the contract for my new space at 2 o'clock, so I better focus, huh? All right. I'm going to do this from the inside. I'm going to start from the middle. I'm going to make it flat. There's probably other ways to do this. I just want to make sure that this underside is pulled taut up. And it would even behoove me to do this, like pin on the fold right here to keep that. But I don't like how it, because it's so thick, it's kind of creating a bump there. And then that feels a little inaccurate to me. So I'm just going to, I can't see my blue top stitching. I always pin perpendicular to the seam so I can sew right over the pin. All right. My pin cushion's all over the place. I'm just going to do a few and then I'm going to come back and kind of fine tune it. Pulling it on this seam here, kind of rolling it between my fingers. I'm getting a little indigo on me. Get all those threads in there. Aren't the highs really sharp? Yeah, but I could see like a size 5 DPN, like a US size 5. That would work pretty good. Just get rid of that. That way, even if it's a little bit on the edge, you won't know because all the blue is showing. So I look at doing a waistband kind of like the way I do binding. If the fold is just at the stitching line, What's a zircle? Oh yeah, the pin cushion. Yeah, this is one of the first things I used to make is at Chicken Boots. There's even like my old printed label on it from I printed this on my printer. Yeah, blueberry was the one that kind of put me on the map, the blueberry pie I had, and I really wish I still had that one. I don't know where it went. They became kind of a thing, a hot button topic for me, and they're really hard to make. This one's really wonky, that's why I end up having it. I always end up with seconds. I never get one of the good ones. Okay, I'm gonna look at this from this side so I can see the fold. So the waistband's curving like this, so that's why I'm like sitting here trying to make sure it's flat. I don't like torquing, and you'll hear me talk about torquing a lot. Part of learning your machine is learning how stuff feeds through it, right? And so I know personally with my machine that the feed dogs will be pulling. It's probably because I have a pretty stout pressure on my presser foot that I adjusted. I really like a lot of pressure on my fabric when I'm sewing so that when I'm pulling, I don't yank it out from underneath the needle. And but it also means that I'm probably toying with the way that the fabric feeds through my machine a little bit by adding so much pressure, because what happens is that the feed dogs are pulling, but the top is kind of staying here. So the underside is going like this, and the top side's essentially looking like it's getting pushed toward me. I'm doing that the reverse. So the fabric on the top is actually pushing towards me while the bottom is pulling. And so I can end up having torquing. And so I make sure I set myself up for success by, really pinning it and making sure that this is non-negotiable. Like I know where I've pinned it. It has to be that way. Zircle square magnetic. Oh yeah, I've seen those. I don't do magnetic pin cushions. I don't like the pins getting magnetized, because then they accidentally magnetize the tips of my scissors, and then I'll cut them. I'll cut a pin because it'll be like hiding back there, and then it slips under there. Done that before. But I understand. Like I have look at this brick of magnets I have right now. That's for my last 125 pattern holders that will ever exist as Chicken Boots. Because that's how many magnets I have. I have like 250 magnets there. Good thing I'm not wearing a pacemaker, because this would probably adjust it. That many. Okay. How's this looking? This looks pretty good. Now, if you were really nervous about this, you could do this top stitching in the blue, and then if it works, then go back and do it on with your good thread, your top stitch thread, because that way you have a little bit of leeway. You know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, I like the way this looks. This works good. Then do your top stitching. The blue does not show up. It really blends. My blue really blends in. Luckily, So when I'm going to do this, I am going to do it in the gold, and I'm going to start at the back here and go all the way around. I'm going to put my start and stop at the back, and I'm going to put it underneath the belt loop so that it doesn't show. So here I am changing thread one more time. Maybe my last time. Ooh. Ooh. Almost lost my spool. Don't you hate it when your spool goes flying and lands on the floor behind your machine under your computer that's in front of you? My setup is not like yours. I wish you guys could see. Like that's my desk right there. And I swiveled my monitor to face me. So my desk and my machine face each other, because that's how I have to do it. I have to be within like a few feet of my monitor to do the camera. Otherwise I have loss. All right, let's do this. Get our pants all the way up here on the table. Make sure get all my tools out of the way. I'm going to do this in one continuous stitch. And so I know that, yes, maybe I will miss the waistband on the inside, but I don't care. I mean, I do. You know, if I were selling these, I would care more. But the thing is, I really want the outside to look good. And I didn't do, like, there's a way to do the inside where it's just lining or denim and it is unfolded right here. It hangs down. I love that way. I did that on one of the pairs of ginger jeans, but I'm not going to do it on this because you don't see that on menswear. You can also bind this inner edge, and so you sew the outside waistband first, turn it to the inside, and then just top stitch it down, and it's so much easier, and I love that method. I use it sometimes. But because I'm clean finishing this both sides, I started from the inside and do it on the outside up for my last step so that I know it's going to look good out here. I don't have to worry about it. But it also means that I may miss the waistband on the inside, mainly because I can barely see where the seam is right there. But I'm going to try not to. So I'm going to need to like hold this at the back because of the torquing that I told you my machine might do for me. And my knitting's getting caught in my pins. I want all my threads in there. That was like fabric fray. Not really a thread. But the fabric fray is way thicker than my thread, my blue thread, so I just want to make sure it's in there. Thanks, Christy. I know. I really like those too. I've had that fabric for so long. It was one of the really early on chicken boots fabrics. This looks a little whiter right here, so I'm kind of adjusting it. So all the things I'm doing right now, I'm making sure this inside waistband is as flat as possible. I would hate it to be smaller or bigger because then it'll either wrap on the front or pull to the inside. So when I get close to the teeth, I'm going to have to be careful that I don't sew over them, since I didn't remove any teeth, which you can do. My nervousness with removing teeth comes from my experience with zipper tape. When you cut zipper tape, it just unravels like you wouldn't believe, and it is compromised. So thank you. And the road, exactly, the cycling path. So I would rather just navigate around the teeth than remove them. Okay, I'm going to try and decide, do I want one more stitch there? I'm going to do a little half stitch there. Okay, now I got to swing my pants through the head. Just going to kind of roll up the legs and put it under there like that so it's not pulling. Yeah, he did see the recent. Oh, hi, Fiona. Oh, you're welcome. I love it. I asked him today. I said, "Oh, so have you seen a picture?" And he said, "Yeah, I like them." So, I think they're more subtle than it seems because the pocket. You're not going to see the pocket lining, you know. Oh, these pins keep poking me. Yeek. I'm definitely going to sew more for him. I miss sewing for him, and I don't know why. I didn't have time really to sew for me all these years. I've just been sewing for chicken boots, and you know, my daughter's like at that age where I could make things for her, but by the time I was done, she might change her mind. You know, like her tastes are just changing and her interests, and you know, more power to her. Okay, I have my right waistband done now. Now I'm just working on my left. I'm sorry that that's all under the machine there. Can you see? The camera right in front of me. It's all under the right side of my machine now. Is the throat very wide? What do you mean by that, Lisa? The throat. Okay, my other thing I worry about is when I get down to the waistband, I don't like this going like this, like kind of lapping over the edge there. Sometimes I'll even like pin it so it's shallow so that I know I won't get that, because by the time I get there, I'll get a little bit of it anyway, and then it'll just even out. Once you know your machine and its quirks and what it likes to do, what it doesn't like to do, right? You can compensate for that. It's not right or wrong. It's just like your toaster. You would adjust it because you know yours likes to burn toast, right? Okay. The part right of the needle. You mean the throat plate? I mean, this is the throat plate. Oh, do you mean my presser foot, maybe? I mean, that is, yeah, all that is stuff that is kind of variable. And my machine is like vanilla. Yeah. Oh, you mean this area here that to the right there? No, it's, you know what? Mine probably is bigger. It's like this big. It's yeah, you're right. But the thing is, with the home machine, you have a free arm. So the bed of your machine is up here, and you have most home machines have a free arm, so the jeans could go around the free arm, which is really nice, and could be under, which helps kind of get rid of some of that issue for some things, you know, like sleeves and hems. I don't have that option on this machine, and when I did it, like I said, it's vanilla. I didn't do any customization to it. There are machines with a really wide machine head base, like this part right here, the top. I keep thinking you can see my machine, but you can't. That part is really big on some machines, like for blanket making and stuff like that. They're really cool. And I think I've told you guys about the factory I saw once that made parachutes. It was so cool. It was one machine. Why does this look so weird? One machine inside of a room in the middle of like this tables and tables and tables. Like she had to like lift up all these like doorways to get to the middle of all the tables, and there was a machine in the middle of the room. It's a huge room. And yeah, then she sewed the parachutes. That is one thing I don't ever want to sew, not when someone's life depends on it. All right, I'm home stretch here, and there's no torquing that I can see. Looks pretty good. Let's see how it looks on the inside. And see, my back tack is right there underneath the carrier. Felt loop will cover that up like that. Here's the inside. Nice and clean. Okay, I have to admit, that looks really good. I'm pretty happy with this. I hope they fit. That looks good. Yay! A little bit of bobbin thing. I probably pivoted right there or like stopped sewing for a second, so my thread got looped down there. Yeah, you know, mine had one too, Malin, but I never used it either. I really liked more table than free arm. I really like, I have a, oh, I could probably bring that to my new place. I have a sewing machine table that, a cabinet where it has a shelf that raises and lowers, so you can put the machine above the height of the table or below it or flush with it or hide it all the way Yeah, right? That's not bad, Julia, huh? I'm pretty excited about that. Let's do the belt loops and let's look at it. Let's make sure there's no torquing. I don't like torquing and I cannot lie. All right, let's see. Okay, I'm happy with that. What is that right there? Oh, it's just like a slub of the fabric. I thought the top stitching had been unpicked. Right, Christy? I actually almost said that word the other day. He's got style, my man. It'll be okay. Wait, where's my belt loop right there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Where? Wait. No. Wah. That makes me so sad. He doesn't need a belt loop there, right? Oh my gosh. What happened? Look, there's the stitching. It came off. All right, all right. Goes right here, right? Exactly, Julia, exactly. See, I do feel like, oh, my waistband works, but maybe this was a little lower than that side. This distance is so, it's the same. It's a very optical illusion, isn't it? He'll never know. Okay, I'm going to put it, I'm just going to pop out and see here. Guess what? The good news is I did my waistband that way so that I can actually just pop out these stitches and stick it in there. But it means I have a start stop. I don't like having start stops. Maybe that's what you saw, Julia. Or were you just saying, like earlier when you were like, oh, you caught something? You were just saying that I could catch something, huh? And that's why I do it that way. But if you were saying like maybe that you thought you saw me catch something, maybe that's what it was. It was my belt loop falling off. Could have been that. All right, so 1 3/4. Oh wait, and it lines up like this. See, but that is good, right? The way I sewed my waistband kind of saved me. Whoops, I almost did it upside down. Do you ever want to just use emojis for your face? There's a few I'm thinking of right now. Okay. Julia, will you be at Madrona? Will any of you be at Madrona Fiber Arts? Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. I was like, maybe you saw that then. It's almost invisible. Still. So close. Okay, I'm getting rid of all those frayed edges. And I'm going to get rid of all these. Yeah, he'll be okay, right? Yeah. No? Okay, no. It's the last one. I've only seen part of the teacher lineup, but I thought maybe they were bringing back teachers from some of the early ones. You know, like a retrospective. Wrong continent, Lisa, yeah. Where are you at, Lisa? I know Malin and Ida are pretty far away, too. That's why Ida had to go to bed. And sometimes there's a gal that joins from Australia, but it's like 6 in the morning for her. How am I getting all these international folks? What are the Americans doing? Okay, see this, I don't like this either. That lineup, that's not good. I gotta take that out, you guys. I don't have to do it for you, but this is okay. This side's okay, but what I can do is just lower this whole thing. See what I mean? It's not really the last one. You're right, Julia. But I have a feeling it'll be a little different, and it's going to be a different name. Yeah, let's see if I can make it work. Should have thought about that too, right? Yeah, but that's gonna bug me. I'm gonna change that too. I'm gonna lower the waistband a little bit. It's almost 10 p.m. there. Oh yeah, you're in the Netherlands, exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's so many of you guys out there. That's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna do maybe one or two of my belt loops over here. And then, yeah, I feel like I'm going to line up that stitching. This is pretty thick, just FYI for your home machine. I feel like it's thick for mine. I have a size 18. Oh, you're in Scotland. Oh, perfect. Yeah, exactly. Your children are asleep. Surprised you want to sit with us, though. You don't want to just relax. I'm just going to do it in line with the waistband stitches. And I'm going to kind of reinforce it across the top. Now, I'm doing fake bar tacks. Real bar tacks are little zigzag stitches. See, zigzag. But I'm on this machine, and this machine's perfect for this. Yeah, it's 4 p.m. there. Oh, yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah. Yeah, I think Madrona will survive. I know, right? There's a lot of international folks. Yeah, exactly, Lisa. Get to bed. Oh, I know that whole thing. Mine's a teenager now. They have some really weird hours. But she doesn't have trouble getting to school or anything, so it's fine. Teenagers have some hours they need that are different. Okay, I'm going to do this one. See, I like the blue bobbin because it doesn't really show on the inside. It's okay if it does. It just looks really cool that it doesn't. So now I would like also to tack this down. I'm a little worried, I will say, about the width of his belt. So this may be something I'm popping out later and, you know, maybe taking this belt loop and attaching it down here rather than in the waistband seam. So it's something to think about. This is only one way to do belt loops. I just like it because they're more secure, and I feel like sometimes when they're just tacked to here, it becomes a little point that can rip off of your jeans if you ever look, you know. Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad, Fiona. Yeah, I do a lot of that. I am not I'm not an expert. Like, I'm going to say that. I know people think I am, but this isn't what I do for a living. You know, I just have been sewing a really long time, and I don't mind figuring it out, and I have a lot of experience, and I know my machine really well. There's like I feel like it's two things when you're sewing. Learning your machine and being comfortable with your machine and knowing its limitations, its strengths, how far you can push it. And like I said, I have sewn for a really long time, and I have a variety of experience. I worked in the garment industry for a really long time as well before I had chicken boots. Chicken boots was a side thing that turned into more. And yeah, I just really like sewing with other people. And I've been kind of out of the home sewing world because I've been sewing for my business instead. So, you know, I'm getting back into seeing what the home sewing community's been doing. So I'm a little out of the loop, honestly. But I really like it. I really like seeing what's happening. And when I first started Chicken Boots, there's like maybe 2 indie pattern companies that you saw regularly at a fabric store. You could, yeah, you could, Julia. I mean, you could actually reinforce on the inside if you wanted. You know, on the yoke, maybe you do 2 yokes, right? That would be great. But I don't know if you've ever seen that on people's pants where that will start, like some guys pull their pants up a lot and they use their belt loops, and so then it's this point of stress. I see my husband do it, but he does it right here. Does it from his pockets. Whereas women usually do it from their waistband. I think about these things. I watch these behaviors and stuff like that because I'm a pattern drafter at heart. And so I look at those things. Okay, I want my stitching to line up there. Because remember, I didn't line up my belt loop over the seam. I lined it up over the top stitching. What's that? There we go. So I'm just going to do a few because I'm going to adjust this right here. I just like totally skipped over this poor little guy here. It's like, hey, what about me? All right. It's very thick. The other thing you could do with your belt loops is that it doesn't have to be 4 layers of denim. They themselves are not something that needs to be sturdy. It's just the sewing of them. Maybe, Carol. I'm thinking about it. I'm very open and transparent for the most part with like how I think about things. I'm like fatigued of promoting. That's the only way I can put it. Like, I'm not very good at promoting what I do or what I make and sell. I was just really lucky that Chicken Boots, like, a lot of people, I really benefited from word of mouth, and that worked really well. And when I started, there wasn't a whole lot of people doing what I did. I just need a break from that. So like the idea of making a line of patterns and then I have to promote it and deal with not tutorials, that's fine, but the troubleshooting and stuff like that just I need a break from it right now. Maybe if I had a team of people, that'd be great, but I don't really know many people to help me with that. So most of my friends are knitters. Yeah, exactly, Malin, exactly. But Carol, I have been thinking about making my Chicken Boots patterns available. That would be really easy for me to do. I have all the resources to send them off to a digitizer, and then they don't need grading because they're not sizes, because they're not clothing, and then doing complete sew-throughs of them for people who buy them. The problem with that is it's so specific. I just don't know who would want to even sew those bags. You know what I mean? And some of them are really hard to sew on a home sewing machine. Like the thing I get asked the most for of my patterns is the pocket bucket. And to be honest, like it's an upper body workout to sew that thing. Like my upper body gets really tired after I've sewn like 20 of them. And that's just doing the last step too. Like that's not sewing 20 start to finish. That I would get tired after 5. So like doing that on a home machine, like the corners of those have 2 layers of vinyl and probably 12 layers of fabric and 3 layers of stiffener, and then the stiffener's folded over as well. So it's just really thick. It's not really conducive for home sewing. All right, I'm going to start unpicking this, but you guys can leave if you want, if you don't want to watch the strategy. Could what be multi-use? The bags? Oh, the knitting bags, yeah. I mean, there's a few things that are knitting specific, but like the project bag and the pocket bucket and any of those projects, they could be used for whatever you wanted. The wristlet and the needle cases are very specific. And I don't know if I would publish the needle cases. I don't think people are going to want to sew a zippered needle case. I love sewing them. And they're a lot easier than people think to sew a zipper around the case. But I don't know how many people would want to do that, you know? So what I could do is leave all this just to detach it here and lower it down a little bit. That would be the easiest thing for me to do. So could I do it between here and there? What do you think? Can I do it? Can I do it? Let's look at that. Line that up a little bit. I think I could. I'm going to try that. I think that'd be the easiest way to do this. But I'm doing it. I want them to be right. I wish I would have thought of this. My bad. Learn from my mistakes. The Notions case, yeah, I mean, that's available right now. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get it as a free pattern download. For a little while longer, there's kits on my website. So you can have the, like hacks for different purposes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually do see people use them for really interesting things. I know, like, people will buy the needle cases for, like, makeup brushes and paint brushes and things. I don't wear really makeup per se, so I don't really know how well they work for that, but I guess it's a use. I don't know. Yeah, and the Notions case can be made bigger or smaller, you know. I make them really big for my sister because she puts like different pins and washi tape on them. She's a journaler, but she does a lot in her journaling, like a lot decorative, almost scrapbooking style journaler. It's really cool. I thought about, you know, working on a few new fabric designs. I'm just not graphically smart, you guys. I just like playing around with it. Oh, I cannot grab these stitches. Sorry. It must be really frustrating to watch. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know about the pattern thing. I like the idea of that. But, you know, it's like, you know, and then people could even sew them and sell them if they want. Then maybe they'll know how hard it was, right? Oh, I think I would like to do a series of videos about things like pricing or production planning and what do you call it? Time-saving stuff, efficiency. But I don't really know if anyone else was interested in that. It would just make me feel good to do it and put it out there, especially pricing. I feel like pricing is a hot button topic. No one wants to talk about it openly. I am thrilled to talk about it openly, and a lot of people are pricing incorrectly, and I have a lot of feelings about that because it hurts the whole community when people do that, and it hurts them too. But pricing is also a regional thing. So pricing something, if you make something and you live in Ohio, is different than if you live in California, right? I don't think I have a knack for teaching, Carol. I have a knack for saying, oh, don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, let's see. Did I catch this in here? I do. I feel like, you know, this is why I always get sad when people get nervous about trying things, is you have to make mistakes to learn. You absolutely will not learn unless you make mistakes. You have to make mistakes because you have to learn how to fix it. So, if you don't know how to fix something, you're not going to learn. You know, it's like a lot of you probably are knitters because you probably came to me through that way, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this. Your friend taught you to, okay, well, that's good to know, you guys. My friend taught me how to knit, and then every time I have a problem, I'd be like, here, fix that. And eventually, she's going to be like, or you're going to be like at home, 9 o'clock at night, you really want to keep knitting, and you're like, oh, what did I do wrong? And then you back it up and you figure it out, right? You may have some bad things happen along the way, but hey, you figured it out. Or your friend's finally like, figure it out, you know? And so I think like it's the same with sewing until you start making mistakes. The problem is with knitting, you can rip it out and re-knit it and you haven't most likely hurt the yarn. Sewing, I know it has that kind of worry that you may permanently hurt the fabric and you've wasted all that money. And I understand that. But that is why sewing muslins and finally finding inexpensive fabric to practice on, or just giving it away if you don't like it, is an option. And it's just got to be something you have to be comfortable with in order to take your sewing to the next level. Harsh words, right? But true. I've been there. All right, so let's see. Where's my waistband? Where's my waistband? I kind of want to use chalk. I can show you my little, do you have one of these, Julia? Since you're kind of new here. A Choco liner. Okay, mine is a white one with yellow chalk inside because they're replaceable now. And you just unscrew this little thing and put it back on there. But they're amazing because they're so easy to use and they draw such a nice line. I love this thing, you guys. Oh, that's awesome, Fiona. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I've been advertising on there. I have one more coming out at a really bad time for me, but we'll see. I can't stream a whole lot next month, and probably the month after I'll be setting up my new space. Okay, so let's see. Where is my waistband? I'm going to stand up and look at it from above. Okay. I feel like I'm kind of far away from those first skills you learn as a sewist, and I'm trying to remember what that's like. I'm trying to listen to what people say and the things I struggle with so I can go, oh, yeah, okay. I used to struggle with that too, but remembering how to do it, sometimes I forgot how I learned it, and I don't know sometimes that my hands are doing more than it looks like they're doing, and so I'm trying to be better about using the right words and explaining what I'm doing as I go. This is my dirty fix for my waistband. Like, I wouldn't want to teach at like a college. I'm just not interested in that. But I like hanging out with you guys and sewing. Oh, the pen is called a it's by Clover as well. Well, it doesn't say it on there. It's a Choco liner, CHACO liner. So there's no L on there for the Choco part. And they have them in like pink, blue, white, yellow. And I think another one. Oh, yeah, you trace pattern. That's awesome. Yeah, and it comes right off. I love it. It's just so accurate, you know? And it works so good. It's like you look forward to using it. I love that thing. I should be a spokesperson for Clover, really. I love a lot of their stuff. They actually had like a little submissions thing for that. I think it was them. I just could not get together to put something together. I want to get rid of this too. I want to be able to get my waistband right up against this edge right here. Unfortunately, I just like tightened that up even worse. There we go. Just trying not to snag that twill, right? Because I don't want to have a if you snag your thread with denim, you see it. It like makes a line. Oh, you can get it in the quilting section? Oh, okay. That's where my fabric store's not. Well, I guess it might be divided up like that. But yeah. They used to have one that it looked more like a lipstick container, and I loved that one. That's my favorite. But you had to pour the chalk in to replace it. But at least the single-use plastic footprint was smaller. You know, like this is a whole cartridge. So you buy this whole thing now, this whole thing, and you just screw it right onto the end. And they didn't have white at the time, and yellow and white are the two that work the best for what I need it for. It's how I mark my accordions for the baffles on the sides. Okay, my pants are, I'm not focusing here. I'm gonna shove this in this way. Kind of putting it up higher than I need. I think higher than I need. And then I'm going to pull it where I want it. I keep putting it up there, but it's just not high enough. Okay. Maybe my pants are pulling. Maybe they're doing that thing I don't like. Okay, let's do this. I feel like it's getting hung up on something, and it might be the seam allowance at the top here. Let's just push way up there. There we go. And pull down where I want it. There we go, like that. Yeah, that's true. About Joann's. Yeah, and I think like you can order them online. I tell you, like, I swear every fabric store I go to follow. Okay, here's the deal. This is what's hanging me up right here. This is what's hanging me up. I need to just pull out more of these threads here. There we go. That's what's hanging me up. Every time I look, I like find someone to follow on Instagram. They're, gosh darn it, they're a British company. They're in the UK, and I'm like, I love that, but at the same time, I want to see more things here so I can like buy from them and support them locally. But gosh, the sewing movement in Great Britain it's pretty big. You guys have some really amazing fabric stores. I think Amazon actually has different Amazons for different country, Christy. I don't think she can buy it from ours. Just to buy it from her own. All right, now it's going right in there. It was hung up on the first row of stitching I did for that waistband on the inside. I'm not gonna pin this, see how it looks. That look good, you guys? That looks better to me. Let's go for it. Let's get this party started. And get rid of this right here because that will make it look messy later on. All these little threads, especially with this really thick thread, you can only cut it down, like cut it close to the fabric so much. After a while, you just can't get any more of it out. So getting rid of that whole back stitch will make it look a little cleaner, and I'll just put in a new one for this belt loop here. In fact, it'll be kind of under the belt loop, which is, you know how I like hiding it. I think that's on Netflix, Carol. Yeah, Etsy would be a really great source, and you can get regular, like not just handmade things on Etsy now. All right, here's my my teeth of my zipper. Looking for the path of least resistance so I don't lose an eyeball. Always a smart move. And I just went one stitch too far. Darn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this edge this little stitching right here a little bit more so that I can line it up better. So rather than like stopping what I'm sewing right now, where then I'd have like a another start stop, which I don't like doing that on the corner because you have the tendency to have problems with skipped stitches and breaking your needle when you do a start stop on a really thick juncture. I know that's obvious information, but it's just like, I think, and this is my first impulse, when I make a mistake, the first impulse is I want to pull it out, right? And sometimes that ends up like, you know, causing me to have another issue because now I have to start and stop, you know, in a really thick spot. I would like this corner to look a little better, but this is very awkward to pull the corner out from here. Okay, now I'm going to try and line up with my original stitching of that top row. Ah, I got a little off. Okay. All right. No harm, no foul, right? I don't know. I'm okay with it. Let's see how it looks. It's better. Right? Look better? The bell loops are so close to the front. It's fine. What time is it? Oh my gosh, okay. You guys are really hanging out here today. Alrighty. Not bad, eh? I really need some labels that aren't chicken boots labels. I'm not putting a chicken boots label in my husband's jeans. Okay, I'm just getting rid of all these little threads. You know, he's going to tell people his wife made them if he wears them, but they don't have to look like it as much as possible, right? So get rid of your threads. That's like 50% of the battle. I like them. They look good. I love this denim. It's got like the slubs are kind of remind me of like linen, for lack of a better word, you know? Should we look at them inside out? Let's see if I notice anything I need to deal with. Better now than later. Phew, I was a little worried about that. Oh, I need to fix that. I'm going to hand sew that because remember, this was my first pass. So I totally forgot to watch for that. Dang, I clipped all these threads before the stream today and look, there's more now. That's probably going to be a problem area for threads. Yeah, see, sergers, man. Not a fan. I didn't say that out loud though, right? Okay, yeah, so when I fixed that, I cheated by doing my whole stitch from this top, but I forgot that my inside was the first pass. Yeah, I love this fabric too. It has this really cute, it had cute companion prints to it. I think it's Cloud 9 that did this one. Pretty cute. Nice butt. See, look, there's one of those distress lines from the washing machine. The waistband looks really good though. This is like one of my best waistbands. It looks very flat and taut. I like the using denim inside and out. That's a little crooked. I'll just say it's his butt. It's not crooked, it's your butt. Just blame it on him. All right, you guys. Well, I was thinking about this today, and I kind of wish I would have gone like this, you know? But I like it. So let's see. My mods were that I added the back yoke. And I showed you how I did that in the first video. I made my pocket bags way smaller this way and this way. I did a squared off fly shield right here rather than the rounded one. And I kind of sewed the fly slightly different than the way she did. And I sewed this a little bit out of order because I'm not lining these. And I really wanted to have the least amount of fabric to deal with while I was applying the fly. So I didn't attach the front pants to the back pants until after I had my fly and pockets done so that it wasn't as much. So yeah, I know. Well, I had a little nervousness with that, Christy, but yeah, it can handle it. It's the needle size, you guys. It's not just my machine. It's the needle size. Size 18 needle. You can get higher, and you can get denim-specific needles for your home machine. And like I was telling you guys before, you can also use the twin needle to double needle top stitch things, and ooh, looks so good. Like, you just want to just do it on over everything once you have one of those. Trust me. They're really, really fun. I could probably attach that belt loop there, right? I knew I forgot that one too. Okay. My little errant belt loop. So next Thursday, we're kind of starting the Mountain View pull-on jean sew along. But mainly we're just going to be talking about pattern alterations. So even if you're not sewing these, stop by because we'll talk about pattern alterations, and I'll do my best to help you guys accommodate for any sizing issues you're having. And I highly recommend that if you have enough fabric, cut out your waistband front and back, inside and outside, and sew it together. You don't need to do anything like the elastic, extra elastic in there, and just pull it on over your hips and make sure also, here's the other thing I want you to do. Thanks, Christy. I want you to look at the finished rise on that pants pattern. I'm sure she has it written on the pattern or the instructions somewhere. And then usually the finished rise either includes the waistband or it doesn't include the waistband. But you can measure the pattern on the seam line, like take off the seam allowances and measure the pattern on the seam line, add the width of the waistband. Right? I want you to take that whole measurement. I want you to compare it to a pair of pants or jeans in your closet and see how they compare front and back to that measurement, all right? And then I want you to make that waistband, pull them on, and put them where that would be relative to those pants. Like if you have a pair of pants that are exactly the same, put those pants on and go, okay, I know where these are sitting on me, and now put the waistband in the same spot. You don't have to do it over the jeans. You could try. It might be a little hard. And then just because that it's gonna take out the worry for the sizing and all that effort you put into sewing. You will have solved some of those issues and questions, so you're not worried. Sew more confidently. I really believe that. So if you have something to compare it to, at least you know to start with that. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I actually think I have enough of scrap that I'm going to make like a little pair of shorts, but they're going to be muslin. So I'm going to tape this pattern piece to this. I think that's how they look, right? Let me get the, I have the pattern right here. Let me get it. So here's the little waistband that I did that day, and I tried it on, and it worked. I was worried about the denim, right? Yeah, exactly, Julia. Yeah, I mean, if you have to do that, yeah. I mean, I think it's just because proportion, Yeah, exactly. Definitely, Christy, do that. All right, so there's a front scoop pocket. So tape that pattern piece to the pant. I'll show you how to do that. I know you guys aren't here for the pull on, but you don't have to do this week if you don't want, but I'm going to talk about this next week, but if you have it then. So what you can do is you can take this pattern piece and just line it up here and here. Now you would cut out this, you don't need to cut out the fly. If she has a shape right here for the fly facing, you don't need to cut that out. Let me turn down the brightness so you can see what I'm doing. It's super bright. Let's see if I can. Oh! Whoa. That's all right, sorry guys. I turn off the auto exposure because it would make your eyes crazy. No, I did not include the elastic on that, Christy. So you don't need to do that. You can if you want, but you don't have to. There you go, Melinda. Like that's good to know that, Okay, so take your pattern. This is the Jutland, I know, but the Mountain View is going to look really similar. So you just line these up, tape it on there. If there's a fly shield or like this fake, hers is going to have a fake fly. If it has this, just, fold it back if you want, and then cut out your pants like to just like right here, like just a little bit, just little shorts. No one's going to see these. And then on the back, what does the back look like? The back has that seam, so I would cut out the right and left back, no pocket, and then you're going to cut this out, and then you're going to sew all those things together. You're going to sew your front rise seam together, your back rise seam together. You're going to sew your inseam, your outseams, your side seams are the outseams, and then the waistband on there. and then try and put them on and see where it lands on you. You just need a muslin. You don't need to finish the seams. You don't need to do anything special. If you really are confident with the sizing and you're like, I don't really want to waste this fabric, you could make these muslin shorts out of the real fabric and cut out all those pieces, but it's just a lot more work. And I'm just trying to get you to be confident about the sizing. So this is what we're doing starting on Thursday. And they do have a back seam here that I'm going to look at seeing if it's shaped or not. And I may be offering you a suggestion on how to remove it if you don't want. So we'll see on Thursday. I'm going to look at that then, putting that off till then because I got a lot to do. So yeah, at the very least, do this, but see where it hits you, because like the fact that you have a rise and your legs are separate, you don't have one leg, you have two. You really need to know all three of those things, the waist, the rise, and where it all sits on you, so. But you can wait until after Thursday to do it. We have plenty of time to do this sew along. It's going to go really quick. Yeah, there you go, Melinda. That's a good idea because this does look pretty close. It's straight, but it's not flared. So good to note that. Yeah. Oh, Christy, you were asking Malin if she added the elastic to hers. Yeah. I don't know. Looking back at your comments, I sometimes miss some of them. So, yeah, and I have a belly, so I have to accommodate that. Like, it'll make the back pull. It'll make the back do something like short-waisted on me. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for coming. And I will definitely get these on my husband today, and I will post a picture if I can. I'm going to do the hems and the hardware next. If you want to watch me do that, I could wait until Thursday to do that. Otherwise, I'll probably just do that on my own. Oh, you were asking me. Okay. They said me to Lauren. I did apply hardware to my second pair of ginger jeans, the jeans for noobs, in the very last episode if you want to watch me do that. But the Closet Case Patterns gal, Heather Lou, has a really great tutorial on doing it as well. You're welcome, you guys. Thank you. I'm the one that ended up making a pair of pants. So I'm just glad you guys were here. Aw, you guys are so sweet. All right, guys. Well, have a great week, and I'll see you Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, for our question and answer on pattern alterations, which size to pick, and any other questions. So look over your stuff before then and let me know what you have, and I'm going to try and sew a muslin by then and see what I think. So, yep, definitely I will post pictures of my husband. He's a lot easier to photograph than me. So, all right, guys. I will see you soon. And you can follow me on Instagram and, all that stuff. So, take care, guys. Bye.